All right, so we are in geometry. Today's date is Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. I am Mrs. Sindel today because it's Gender Bender Day. Mrs. Sindelli today. So we're on problem number 17. This one is a relatively straightforward question. Where do I have a minimum value? The minimum value, what is the lowest height or the lowest value of y? Here it is. There's the lowest value of y. It's the lowest on the graph. What is the x value of that point? Well, I go -1, -2, -3. -3 is the x value of its minimum. -3 is the answer. Correct answer is B. My hope, that I guess I should have said from the very beginning, is every time that you make an error where you actually try a problem, you shouldn't make that error anymore on the next time that you take the SAT. So when you take the pSAT, hopefully I am improving your score that you would have gotten if we didn't do this practice.
It's tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
Wait, where are we going to take it?
If you're not taking it today or tomorrow, we're going to do a review day. We're not going to do a new lesson.
Mr. Sindel, when are we going to take the
My name is Mrs. Sindelli.
Wait, Mr. Sindel, when are we going to take the actual pSAT? Like what time tomorrow?
In the morning, I think. It's like at 8:30. pSAT is tomorrow. Yeah.
If you want to, 3 hours.
All right. Number 18 was difficult. Question, Sergio.
Can we go to music while taking this?
All right, we are on number 18. I need you back. I need you to listen. I need you to not be off task and not be talking. Next person that talks will deduct HP. Who said that? You can take it? All right.
Wait, Julian, you're going to die.
No, I'm at, how much? 30?
He's gonna take.
It's only 5 for a procedure. All right, so now you lost another 5. All right, so number 18 was kind of difficult because you had to find a system of equations that held true. So to do this problem, we basically need to say, well, if y is always less than -x plus a, I need a, what's the easiest way to do this one? Which of these must be true? My first inclination is to try to graph these. If y is always greater than x plus b and negative, yeah. So if I'm thinking in my head, we haven't actually graphed these yet. We kind of skipped over this in Algebra 1 because we just ran out of time, I guess. But if I think about this, so -x plus a roughly looks like that. Y is greater than x plus b looks like that. So it should be anything that's above here or below here. So you're thinking of things that are over here. What is going on here? X is less than, okay, so there should be some math trick in order to get the variables isolated. So my first inclination was incorrect. I don't think we want to graph it. What could we do? We need to somehow say that if y is always less than -x plus a, and y is always greater than x plus b. I'm not sure. And I guess this is the time where we can go and see the solutions and learn how to read those. Did I put that up on the warm-up? Did you guys read the warm-up? Oh yeah, so I put number 18 up on the warm-up. Okay, so they choose a number and see that it's correct. Oh, I totally didn't even read that part. If 0, 0 is a solution, then which of the following must be true? So let's plug in 0, 0. If I plug in 0, 0, I get 0 is less than or equal to -0 plus a, and 0 is greater than 0 plus b. If I simplify both of these, I get 0 is less than a, and 0 is greater than b. Question, Gunnar.
Why is your voice so deep?
I am a man. This means that a is positive. A has to be positive. A is positive. B is negative. If A is positive and B is negative, that means A is bigger than B. It does not mean that B is bigger than A because B is negative and A is positive. It does not mean anything about their absolute value. You can only do this type of thing when you know how big they are. We only know that one is positive, one is negative. We don't know the size of each of them. And we don't know that one is this is again is saying that the sizes are equal, but one is negative, so we can't do C or D. Fernando?
Wait, wouldn't it be B?
Why?
Because isn't that sign like, or actually?
So let me re-explain. So I rewrote this, but I plugged in 0 and 0. I did that for the second equation as well. And then I basically simplified. This simplifies to say that 0 is less than A, or if I read it from right to left, which you normally don't do, you say A is bigger than 0. A is greater than 0. If A is greater than 0, A is positive. Reading this one backwards as well, B is less than 0. That means B is negative. Which one is bigger, positive or negative? Positive, therefore A is bigger than B.
But Mrs. Sindali.
On to number 19. Ooh, food trucks. Now I'm getting hungry for breakfast. Salads are $6.50 and drinks are $2. The total revenue was they made 209 salads and drinks, and they made a total of $836.50. We've done a problem like this. This is a system of linear equations in Algebra 1. You basically need to make variables. Let's go ahead and make variables. I'm going to say S is for a salad.
Wait, no, can I tell you my guess first?
Sure, you can guess.
C.
B.
It's C.
It's B.
It's C.
I mean, you can just look over here. 19 is B. So, I mean, this was
Don't
already up,
guess,
so.
you saw it.
S is salad, and I'm going to say that drinks, D is for drinks. And you need to make two equations from this. Here are my two equations. $6.50 is the price of a salad, so I'm going to multiply that by S. And I'm going to add on $2, 2.00 for every drink. This equation represents my money equation. So if I add up all the money, I should get $836.50. This is looking complex because this is a calculator problem. In a sec, I'm going to let you grab calculators, but let's set up the second equation first. If I just add up the number, this is going to be the number, I don't have to attach any price to it. I could just say, yes, just add up S, add up D, and I get the total number, which is 209. Now I have a system of linear equations. I somehow need to solve, and I'm looking to solve for salads. If I'm looking to solve for salads, I should be eliminating the D variable, eliminating drinks. If I eliminate drinks, I'll be left with salads. So this is really 2D. 2.00D is the same thing as 2D. How can I multiply, let me change to a color here. How can I multiply this bottom equation by a number such that it will eliminate my D variable? Does anyone have this one with a quiet raised hand? How can I multiply that bottom equation such that when I add the two equations, the D's are canceled out? Sergio.
-2.
There it is. If I multiply this one by -2, my new equation is -2S minus 2D is equal to -418. So I'm going to get rid of this equation. I don't need it anymore. Now I'm going to add my new number equation with my money equation, and the D's should cancel out. So this 2D and -2D are gone. I now need to do 6.5S minus 2S. Quiet raised hand. More XP. Our game warden is keeping track. Fernando. 4.5S, I think it is. 450S, thank you. And this is where a calculator comes in handy, so I'm going to pause here. Everyone grab a calculator. All right, so we have our calculators. Who has the answer here? Quiet raised hand. Only one person. Gunner, go for it.
B.
Gunner,
Oh,
I'm 836.5 minus 418. Gunner is 90. I don't think so.
It's like 400 something.
Oh,
Fernando, go for it.
418.5.
418.5. I need someone else to confirm. Give me a thumbs up if you got that number as well. I got. Did you actually do it?
Yeah, I didn't want to say it though.
Okay. I got two people to confirm. All right, now I need to take that number, so everyone has 418.5. I need to now divide that by 4.5, because I'm going to divide both sides here by 4.5. Divide by 4.5. And who has that answer? I want to give it to someone new. Who has their card still?
I have my cards.
You don't have a.
I don't even have our cards.
Well, that's the game warden's fault. The game warden should have passed them out.
Oh, do I lose HP?
I
Yeah,
have
I
something
know.
on Mr. Sindel. You can't do that.
You should take away
Oh,
Josie, thank you.
Good.
Exactly 93?
Yeah.
No, the tablet needs a software update. Stat.
Should you?
So who is our game warden today?
Gunter.
Oh, Gunter. All right. 93. Is that an option over here? Oh, look. It's B.
How much HP do I lose if I get caught playing computers?
Whenever I do math on like these
All of it.
type of tests, like, the
That's
cost
abusing
is
your
not very
powers.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
Your
it
tablet
is
should
not
only
there,
be used to
yeah.
keep class of or keep track of your points and stuff.
good.
We're on to number
I
20.
don't get caught.
Well, then you don't get caught. Hopefully someone turns you in, though.
What? They're gonna turn into 6'9".
Snitches get XP. All right, so
Oh, actually.
number 20. Quiet raised hand to read. Who can read this to the class for XP? Andres, go for it.
Alma bought a laptop computer at a store that gave a 20% discount off its original price. The total amount she paid to the cashier was P dollars, including an 8% sales tax on the discounted price. Which of the following represents the original price of the computer in terms of P?
Thank you. And Gunnar, you lost HP. Stop talking while he's talking.
What? Wait, what?
You were talking while he was talking. It was really annoying. I couldn't pause and take away HP while he was doing it because it would have interrupted him. He was reading off the screen.
That's why I was talking loud.
All right. So we need to include an 8% sales tax with a 20% discount. How do we do that? What are we going to be doing? Okay, so this is where I teach you guys because we haven't seen this very often. A 20% discount means I'm going to be multiplying by 0.8. If I say 0.8 times P, that represents 20%, that's not 2, 20% off.
Is that a negative?
It's just 0.8 because it essentially you do 1 minus the percent and multiply that by P times P. The percent is 20%, so 1 minus 20%, and then I need to convert that to a decimal, 1 minus 0.2, and 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8. So that's where 0.8 came from. Question, Sergio.
It's not A and B.
It's not, well, we have to be careful here because now we need to add on an additional 8%. So I don't get to add, I need to multiply now by, again, it's 1 plus the percent in this case because I'm adding on that percent. So it's going to be 1 plus the percent. And what was the percent again? Actually, can someone just do this for me? I need to somehow convert this to a decimal. Using the conversion, it was 8%. I need to convert that to a decimal, and then I need to add it to 1. How can I do that? Anyone want to take a shot at it? You still get 50 XP even if you're wrong. I'll help you along the way. Who wants to try it? Andres? You're like,
It's
no.
It's not.
All right, I will help us out then. So it's going to be 1 plus 8%. But 8% in terms of a decimal, and hopefully we're all okay doing this. I'll get a fist of 5 in a sec. Is 1 plus 0.08, which is 1.08. So I need to multiply by both 1.08 and multiply by 0.8. I can't just add those together. But give me a fist of 5. How well can you convert a percent into a decimal? Can you say, oh yeah, 8% is 0.08, 20% is 0.2. I know how to do that. Give me a fist of 5. How well can I convert a percent to a decimal? Do we need to practice that? A 2? Is that being honest, Andres? Oh gosh, okay. 3.
Wait, what are we doing?
I'm asking how well can you convert a percent to a decimal? All right, here is a 2-minute lesson on converting to a... Yes, you guys are going to be just listening for now. You're going to be writing down in a sec. If I have 113%, to convert any percent to a decimal, I move the decimal place, which was right here, backwards 2. So this is 1.13 as a decimal. If I have 2%, I can say 0, 2 is still the same thing as 2. I move the decimal place backwards 2, and this turns into 0.02. All you do to convert to a decimal is I move the decimal place 2 back. So you guys are going to write this down now. You guys do this practice problem. What is 7% as a decimal? What is 45% as a decimal? What is 60% as a decimal? and what is 114% as a decimal. Do these 4 problems right now. Prove to me and your neighbors that you will be checking your answers with that you know how to convert a percent to a decimal. Quiet raised hand. 7% as a decimal is what? Monse. 0.07. There it is. And sometimes you can say 0.07, but 0.07 is perfect. Thank you, Gunnar, for giving Monse 50 XP. Next, 45% as a decimal. Jose. 0.45. 60% as a decimal. Cohen. 0.6. A lot of people said 0.60, which is correct, but 0.6 is also correct. Next one. 114% is what? Oh, yeah, they said I should cold call on people. Yeah, Jessica. There it is. 1.14. Now we all have the correct answers. Your fist of 5 should at least increase to a 4 theoretically. You now know how to convert a percent into a decimal. So I will either add or subtract the percent from 1 because 100% is not changing anything. If I multiply by 1, that's 100%. Nothing changes. So I need to multiply by 0.8 and I need to multiply by 1.08. Where is that happening? Oh, C. That's the answer.
Wow.
Andres.
So to convert decimals, you start from the right and then move 2 places to the left.
There it is. Yep.
I was doing it from the left to the right.
That is converting from a percent to a decimal to a percent. You're going backwards.
No, can I teach algebra one tomorrow?
No.
Why? What if I make a lesson?
If you make a lesson, then sure.
Come on,
Yeah, talk to me after class and I can tell you what we're learning tomorrow.
I can do it.
Number 21. Lots of stuff to read. So, who wants to read this mega paragraph? Julian.
That's too complicated. The data. Huh? The data in the table above were produced by Swedish researchers studying the number of dreams people recall when asked to record their dreams for 1 week. Group X consisted of 100 people who observed early bedtime, and Group Y consisted of 100 people who observed later bedtime. If a person who is chosen at random from those who recalled at least 1 dream, what is the probability that the person belonged to Group Y?
All right. So, yeah, it's a lot. And to put this in context, again, you should be averaging a little under a minute and a half to solve this problem. It just took us 30 seconds to read that. So you now have a little under a minute to do the rest of the math. And if it took you a minute to read that, now you have 30 seconds to do the rest of the problem. The SAT is fast. I'm sorry. That's the nature of the game. So we need to choose a person that has at least 1 dream. So does this group have at least 1 dream?
Yes.
No.
No, this is none. That is definitely less than 1.
I
Does this group have at least 1 dream?
Yes.
Does this group have at least 1 dream? So I'm going to be adding up those 2 totals. Calculators out, go. Or if you can just do this in your head, even better. The total number of people is what?
About 60, 70 something.
What?
One, no, it's 174, yeah.
164.
164, teacher.
Monse, Sergio Lockett. 164.
Who said that? Who gets XP for that?
Monse, Sergio, 70.
Monte answers you can say.
All right, so in total, there were 164 people that recalled at least 1 dream right here. Now I need to figure out what is the probability that that person belonged to group Y. So that actually changes the nature of the game here. We don't actually, it's not 164 divided by 200. It's not the, I'll sign it later. It's not the number of people in total. It's the number of people belonging to group Y. Well, the total number of people belonging to group Y is 100. It doesn't make sense to do 164 divided by 100. That's over 100%. We need to simply add up these 2 numbers and divide that by 100. We're not including group X. Ignore group X. It doesn't exist. Only looking at group Y, what is the probability that at least 1 person recalled a dream? So you should be able to do this in your heads. What's 11 plus 68? Shout it out.
79.
Now 79 divided by 100 is what decimal? No, it doesn't even need a decimal. There it is, B.
Oh, wow.
Does everyone understand why we crossed off X? Why we're only limited to Y? This is the time to ask questions.
Yes.
Maybe your question is, why did we cross off group X? That's an easy question. Is anyone going to ask that?
Why did we cross off group X?
Because we're only looking at group Y. It says, what is the probability that the person belonged to group Y? There's nothing in that question that says include the total or include group X. The question says group Y, group Y. Everything in here is group Y. I mean, it does say group X consisted of 100 people, but we don't care about that because the question, where this question mark occurs, whoa, that's weird. Where the question mark occurs is only talking about group Y. All right, so we're on to the next question. 22 and 23 refer to the following information. Ooh, annual budgets. All right. Which of the following best approximates the average rate of change? All right, we are restricted to Kansas from 2008 to 2010. Let's see if we can find that. So 2008 is here, 2010 is here. We're only looking at Kansas. Oh, all of this is Kansas. And agriculture and natural resources. So agriculture is right here, agriculture and natural resources. So we need to find the average rate of change from here to here. This is very, very much a calculator problem. I don't want to do this math in my head. First of all, what is the average rate of change? What's another word for average rate of change? Starts with S. Good guess. Someone else shout it out. Average rate of change. You've learned this word over and over again in Algebra 1. Starts with S. What's a word in Algebra 1 that we used over and over again?
Supplementary.
That's geometry.
Secretary.
Slope.
Slope.
Yeah. That one. I told you.
So whenever you see this word average rate of change, circle that average rate of change. They're asking here for slope. And this is like AP Calculus 2. We always ask for average rate of change, and I always tell AP Calculus, just think of slope. Slope. So I need to find the slope. The slope formula, if you recall. Well, let's see who does recall it. Some deltas in there, maybe. Andres?
Slope delta y over delta x.
There it is, delta y over delta x.
What about y mx plus b?
That is a slope of a line. That's in slope-intercept form. So if it's the change in y over the change in x, it's the change in this case, the change in, it's the change in money divided by the change in year. So the change in year is the tricky bit. This is the thing that will confuse lots of students. What is the change in time from 2008 to 2010?
Yes.
Shout it out.
1, 2,
The years.
Dos.
2.
2. Many people will think that's 1 for some reason. I don't know why, but that's the common mistake that you make. Now, with your calculators, I need to find what happens when I do 488,106 minus 358,708. Go.
129,398.
Someone confirm.
Yes.
Someone that actually calculated on their calculator, confirm. Did you do it on your calculator, Gunner? All right.
1, 2, 9, 3, 9. Yeah.
That's now Gunner and Fernando who have confirmed. All right, so now take that number, 129,398 divided by 2. That will be your slope.
Wait to me, Fernando, and I'll get it for you.
Sure.
That is 64,699.
Do we see that answer down here? Ooh, one of those is really close. Do you guys see it?
Yeah.
It's B. I know for a fact for number 22, the quick way of doing this is to round. Instead of doing 488,106, I would just say, 488,359,000. Just round it and then do the math faster that way.
Well, Mr. Findo, isn't that 65 million?
65 million per year. These are in.
Wait.
Yeah, what is going on there? Oh, because everything represents thousands of dollars, so I think we have to multiply by 1,000. Is that right? Yeah. So we need to multiply by 1,000 since this represents thousands of dollars. So this isn't 263,000. This is 263 million. I think. If I'm reading that, because that's what it says our units are. Our units are in thousands of dollars. So this 3 doesn't represent 3. It represents $3,000. Good question. Yeah, I didn't even catch that. Number 23.
XP, good.
XP?
Of the following, which program's ratio? Ooh, what's a good word for ratio?
For ratio?
What is another word for ratio? If you don't like the word ratio,
Something to something, yeah.
yeah, fraction. Which program's fraction or ratio of its 2007 budget to its 2010 budget is closest to the human resources program's ratio of its 2007 budget to its 2010 budget? Wow, that is a lot to take in. So we're looking for a fraction that is similar to the fraction of human resources. So let's go look at human resources.
Public safety.
Human resources 2007 is right there, and then we're going to 2010. So 2010 human resources. So our ratio is roughly, let's round this to 6 million. 6 million and 4 million. Let's round. Let's make it nice and easy, yeah?
Yeah.
So that's 6 divided by 4, which is 3 over 2. Our fraction is 3/2. I want you guys right now to look which of these other things roughly has a fraction of 3/2. Does 1,700,000 divided by 1,400,000, is that about 3/2? One of them is very clearly the winner. Which one of them is about 3/2? Well, this one down here is roughly like 2, so it's not that one. Comparing 2007 to 2010, who sees it?
I see.
Who sees it? 2 people see it. Keep looking. If you don't see it, 3 people see it. Keep looking. What has a ratio of 3/2? Rounding. Cohen, tell us. Education. Look at it. 3 million divided by 2 million is 3/2. The correct answer here is education. The best information I can tell you whenever you get to a table is rounding makes you save time. And the SAT is all about those time-saving tricks. Know how to round correctly. Sergio Hood. All right, on to number 24. Oh boy, we don't talk about this until we hit geometry. So you guys haven't learned this yet. Hopefully you're taking the SAT after you take geometry, so you'll learn this. But the general idea here is the equation of a circle is x minus center x, quantity squared, plus, and I ran out of room, y minus center y, quantity squared is equal to radius squared. That's the general formula for a circle. A lot of people, a lot of textbooks like to say x minus h squared, y minus k squared is equal to r squared. It makes a little bit more sense this way. So if my center is 0, 4, the x-coordinate of the center is 0. So the x-coordinate is 0, the y-coordinate is 4 of the center. So we're looking with something that says x minus 0, and all of them have x minus 0. So all of those have the correct center point. We now need to say if the y-coordinate is 4, it needs to be y minus 4. Which of these says y minus 4? It's not B, it's not D.
A and C.
The negative is included in the formula. So if this had a negative, if this had a negative 4 right here, then you'd have a double negative and it should be y plus 4. The negative is included in the formula. So if I have a negative 4 up here, this is going to be y minus 4 in this other problem that's not this problem, and it would be y plus 4. But we have a regular 4, so we should be having a y minus 4. Now it's between these two. Notice the only difference between A and C is the radius. It says that oh my gosh, it doesn't even tell you what the radius is. That is super, super mean. This is a hard type of problem. We have to figure out what the radius is using Pythagorean Theorem.
What is that?
This is a gross problem. So, Pythagorean Theorem. If I did a rough sketch of what's happening here, 0, 4 is right about there. Let's just say that's 4. If I go 4/3 out here and then 5, that's this point up here. And I need to find this length of the hypotenuse. How do I do that? Well, you need to obviously enlarge this a little bit to see what's going on here. This is a right triangle where I started all the way over here. I went 4/3 units to the right because I started here at the x-coordinate of 0, and I ended at an x-coordinate of 4/3. So how much did I move? 4/3. So I moved 4/3 in the x direction. That is amazing. We will, yeah, is the answer A or B? Or A or C?
It's C.
It's C? We'll see if you're correct. And then how much did I move from 4 to 5? Quiet, raise your hand. Easy question. How much did I move from 4 to 5? Jose? 1. Yeah, so I moved 1. So there's my right triangle. I need to use Pythagorean Theorem on this right triangle now, which is kind of gross because I need to square a fraction, but there it is. I now need to say 4/3, that's 4/4, 4/3 quantity squared plus 1 squared is equal to the hypotenuse. I'm going to call that, we'll call it C, sure. C squared. All right. Review on squaring fractions. What do I do? Who can square 4/3? All right. I will give us the answer here. 4/3 squared is 4 squared over 3 squared. Plus 1 squared. 1 squared is the same thing as just 1. I'm going to leave that like that. Is equal to C squared. All right. Who can simplify this fraction? 4 squared over 3 squared. Who's got this? Sergio. 16 over 9. Plus, instead of 1, I'm going to write this as 9 over 9 is equal to C squared. I changed the 1 to 9 over 9 so that I would have like denominators. Otherwise, you can't add them. All right, so from here, I now need to say 16 plus 9 is 25. So I now have the new equation that says 25 over 9 is equal to C squared. And there's a ton of tricks I can show you, but notice that this is our radius. This right here represents our radius of the circle. In our formula needs to be radius squared. What did we just find?
The radius squared.
We found the radius squared. So you should be looking for 25/9. Correct answer is A. Sorry, Fernando.
I said A.
But if you simplify that,
If you simplify what?
the
25/9 can't be reduced.
They can.
Its factors on the top are 5 and 5. Factors on the bottom are 3 and 3. None of the factors cancel
But
out.
you can divide it by. You can divide the top by 5 and the bottom.
Yeah, you can't do that with fractions. It's top and bottom by the same number.
What if you cross multiply?
So, you guys now have some time to do some homework. Your homework is to get through number 27. You can finish in class. You got 7 minutes. Come on, guys.
You know how to start the
I'm a guess.
Do you want to just keep doing them together?
Yes. Yes, because I don't know how to.
If we can finish all of them in class, you'll have no homework. Let's see if we can get through this. Someone read 25. Quick reader. Gunner, go.
The equation above expresses the approximate height h in meters of a ball t seconds after it is launched vertically upward from the ground with an initial precipitation of 25 meters per second. After approximately how many seconds will the ball hit the ground?
All right, so its initial velocity is 25 meters per second. We have the height of the ball.
And then precipitation.
And a precipitation of 25 meters per second.
That's a lot of rain.
All right, so if the ball is hitting the ground, what is the height? What is the height when the ball hits the ground?
25. Zero.
If you hit the ground, your height should be 0, Sergio Hood, which means 0 is now equal to negative 4.9 t squared plus 25t. I now need to factor this thing. That is a weird t that I just made there. I need to factor this thing. T times negative 4.9 t plus 25. That's still set equal to 0. By the zero product property, by the power invested in me, by the zero product property, these two things must both be, well, they could theoretically be 0. So over here, t could be 0, which makes sense because if I'm starting from the ground at t equals 0 seconds, the ball starts from the ground and then goes up and makes this parabola. So t equals 0, that's obviously not an answer over here, so ignore that. Now I need to set this thing, negative 4.9t plus 25 needs to be set equal to 0, and I'm going to solve that. Luckily, you have calculators. I'm going to add 4.9t to both sides, so I get 25 is equal to 4.9t. I'm going to pause because I was going fast. I'm going to review what we did. We first noticed that it said ball hit the ground. I interpret that as a height of 0. I'm plugging in 0 for h because a height of 0. Once I plug in for 0, I needed to factor out the t, and then I'm using the zero product property to solve. Zero product property says that negative 4.9 t plus 25 is equal to 0. Then I'm solving for t. Can someone divide both sides by 4.9 on the calculators? What is 25 divided by 4.9? Who's got
5.10.
5.10, which is approximately?
5.
There it is. Correct answer is D. So that problem had a lot of different components to it: interpreting the problem, understanding how to factor, how to use the zero product property, how to use algebra 1 skills for solving an equation. Number 26, 2 more problems. We might finish in class. We might have no homework. Katerina is a botanist studying the production of pears by 2 types of pear trees. She noticed that type A trees produce 20% more pears than type B trees did. Based on Katerina's observation, if the type A trees produced 144 pears, how many pears did the type B produce? Again, percents. If type A produced 20% more, so I'm going to say A equals 20% more, I'm going to do 1 plus the percent times B. I need to somehow figure out what this equation is saying. You guys have just done this problem all the way back here in, where was it? Problem number 20. You just did this, so it should be fresh in your minds. How do I do 1 plus that percent? The percent is 20. Someone convert that 1 plus 20% into a decimal. What is our new equation? Quiet raise hand. I have 1 person. I need another person. Once there's 2, I'll call on one of those 2. Fernando.
1.2.
1.2. There it is. I'm looking to solve, and in case anyone didn't catch that, it's 1 plus 20%. Converting that to 1 plus 0.2. 1 plus 0.2 is 1.2. This is our new equation. We need to say that A is 144. It says A produced 144. So I'm substituting and I say 144 is equal to 1.2 times B. What do I need to do to both sides to solve? Everyone shouts out, I divide by... Oh, dear God. I divide by...
1.2.
There it is. On your calculators, 144 divided by 1.2. Go. I think you're going to get about 124, I would guess. I don't know. 120. Darn. All right. Correct answer is B, because we divide both sides by 1.2, 1.2. We get about 120. And our final problem. We have 2 minutes left of class. 1.5 minutes to be exact. Quick reader. Who's going to go? Fast. Andres, go.
The square field measures 10 meters by 10 meters. 10 students each mark off a randomly selected region of the field. Each region is square and has side lengths of 1 meter and no 2 regions overlap. The students cut the earthworms contained in the soil to a depth of 5 centimeters beneath the ground's surface in each region. The results are shown in the table below.
And then the next part is, which of the following is a reasonable approximation of the number of earthworms to a depth of 5 centimeters beneath the ground surface in the entire field? So we basically need to take the average of the number of earthworms, and then we're going to multiply that by 10. So, because again, there were 10 regions, right? There were 10 students, so we're going to take the average and multiply by 10. Someone guesstimate the average. This is where you have to use some approximating.
25.
The average of all of these numbers. Someone guesstimate.
About 150.
I would say about 150. Let's multiply that by 10. What do I get?
About 25.
Correct answer is B. Done.
25.
That's how you do that problem.
About 25.
We have no homework. You may pack up. Thank you, guys.